Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety for the City of Huntington on Monday, March 2nd, 2026. We'll call the meeting to order beginning with a roll call. Christie?
Mayor Strick,
Present.
Danielle Albertson,
Present.
Megan Bonbrake,
Present.
Ian Lindsay,
Present.
Anthony Lesnikia.
Present.
Thank you. And having established a quorum for the conducting of city business, we'll move along to the first item on the agenda, consideration of the minutes from the February 17th, 2026 regular meeting. Is there a motion to bring those to the floor for consideration and adoption as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Further discussion and consideration of the minutes. Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of adoption of the minutes as submitted. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Not aware of any old business for the board today. We'll move along to consideration of new business. The first item is a special event request for the Belcher Wedding in Sunken Gardens and an alcohol permit for that event. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration and discussion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second, and joining us remotely today, as I understand it, is Miss Emily Kennedy. Are you able to hear everything okay for the proceedings?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Okay, and we can hear you as well. So I'd like to give you an opportunity to, and do I understand correctly, you are the bride-to-be?
Yes,
Congratulations.
thank you.
I'd like to give you the opportunity to share with the board the date and time of the wedding event in Sunken Gardens and your request today, and then board members may or may not have questions for you at that point.
My wedding is May 30th of this year, 2026. The ceremony will begin at the Sunken Gardens at 5:30, and then we anticipate our ceremony lasting between probably 30 and 40 minutes. And we'll start serving dinner, and then, with your permission, beer and wine around 6. We expect the event to end around 10 p.m. And we've spoken with Chief Boxell to arrange off-duty security from his department, and then to get his permission for the event as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Board members, any questions for Ms. Kennedy?
How many people are you planning to have in attendance?
I'm anticipating around 60, and that includes children, so probably around 50 adult guests, and then somewhere in the vicinity of 10 children.
Board members, just for background and reminder, of course, this is at a location in the city parks where we do allow this with authorization from the Board of Works, and so Ms. Kennedy's provided everything necessary to bring it to the board today, and Chief Boxell signed off on it as well. So, further questions?
Other than having the security, or any other departments that need brought in on that, as far as clearance?
Not for this specific item. So the rental itself actually goes through the Parks Department, but for this specific permission, really it is just a public safety matter through the Police Department.
Perfect.
Okay, not hearing any further question or discussion then, we will call the question before the board in favor of authorization of the alcohol permitted request for May 30th, 2026 for Ms. Kennedy and her fiance. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations again, and have a wonderful celebration.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Moving along the agenda then, next item is an agreement with ERS Wireless. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration and authorization?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Director Cutress.
Yes, Tony Johnson, Fire Chief, couldn't make it today, so he asked me to present the agreement between the city and ERS Wireless for the installation of the station alerting system in the new fire station. This was always, in working with Wygan, this was always a portion that the city was going to handle. This fee was built into the cost of the total contract fee. Essentially, it was one of the city responsible items under the agreement with Wygan. The city has already used ERS Wireless at both the current fire stations for the station alerting and everything, so it made sense for us to continue to handle it at the new station for the build out. The agreement is for $84,627.01. That also includes 5 years of essential service, so they will make the necessary visits and everything over those 5 years to keep it working, along with updates. So it'd be my recommendation at this time that the board authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with ERS Wireless for the installation of station alerting at the new fire station.
Thank you, Director Cutters. Questions or discussion by board members?
I'm sorry, you said that was part of the cost?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, we already
Thank
had
you.
this. It was going to be one of the city's responsible items during the build.
Thank
Is that something that one of the other stations can transfer service to, the new station?
Of some of the parts from the current Condit Street Fire Station will move to the new station. But being the size of the station, some of it, a lot of the equipment, the hard stuff is new. So there is some new and some reusing of old.
Further discussion or question by board members?
And this is just this is an internal, this is just for the building, or is this between buildings?
No, this is just for this building. It is how the firemen at the station, when an emergency call comes in, they get notified at the station. There are, it's the antenna system. It dispatches it across multiple speakers throughout the station, shows up on a couple of TV screens for them to see the location of the call, all that kind of pertinent information, just like what shows up in their trucks when they're responding. So it is everything for the entire station for this.
Thanks.
Further questions? Not hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of the recommendation to authorize the agreement with ERS Wireless. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then is there a motion to authorize discussion and consideration of the 2026 sidewalk replacement program?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, Director Cutters.
Yes, we do this annually as the weather starts to turn. It's the opening and setting of prices for the city's sidewalk replacement program. After talking with some of the local contractors, it does appear that concrete prices are going up slightly, therefore so are concrete contractors' prices. So it would be my recommendation that we increase the city's portion of the share slightly over last year. Last year's prices were $6 a square foot for traditional 4-inch thick sidewalk, $6.10 a square foot for curb face sidewalk, and $6.25 for drive approach sidewalk. We'd propose to raise everything a quarter, so that would go $6.25, $6.35, and $6.50 for the various types of sidewalk. And we believe that would be a fair share for the city's portions as we start to accept applications. We've actually already taken one application in, and we're just waiting on the board's approval of the prices before we can release that one for construction. So that would be my recommendation. If the board would accept those prices, we could open the program for the year.
Further question, discussion by board members?
Do you have any information on how much sidewalk you replaced last year?
I would have to look at my annual report to confirm the exact number, but we were about 1,000 feet of sidewalk.
Is that normal?
Last year was a little lower than normal. The previous years we've had a little bit more. I think some of that could be contributed to the large amount of construction projects we undertook that repaired some bad sidewalks throughout the city. But it comes and goes as far as the amount.
Do residents have the option to have some sort of reimbursement if they have brick sidewalk to be done like it is on Tipton?
We have in the past worked with homeowners on if they want to keep the brick sidewalk but replace it. We've worked with them. That gets a little trickier than just these prices. So typically what we'll do is we'll review their proposed costs from their contractor, and try to compare that to these numbers and see where it makes sense. So
The new brick sidewalks look really great.
they are nearly complete.
Yeah. Thanks.
Mhm.
How many years have we been doing this program now? Your head?
In this manner, we've been doing them this way since about 2014. So at that point, we're about 12 years. It's a change from the way they used to do it years prior to that, but this seems to be in a more efficient manner.
Okay, good.
Further question or discussion regarding the sidewalk replacement program and the new numbers for 2026? Okay, not seeing or hearing any, we'll call the question and affirmation of the recommendation to authorize the increase in the city's portion of the sidewalk replacement program. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Board of Public Works and Safety Resolution 2026-2. Christie?
This resolution, if adopted, would determine that McIntyre Brass Works Incorporated is the single source of the fire pole needed for the new fire station construction and would authorize the purchase of the fire pole, including initial advance payment.
Thank you. Is there a motion to authorize Resolution 2026-2?
Moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration of the resolution. Background for the board members.
Yeah.
Chief Johnson's not available here today, but in addition to tradition of it being a brass pole, it is actually the most cost-effective solution to this. And as the cities move forward, this is the same cost, but the city will be making direct purchase from the supplier rather than our construction agent doing so on our behalf. Director Kutchers can speak to that as needed, but the reality is it doesn't affect the overall price, and this has been authorized by City Council, which is why we're bringing it to the board today. Further questions or discussion? Okay, not hearing any this time, we'll call the question in favor of Resolution 2026-2. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Thank you. And moving along under ordinance enforcements then, we have a status report for 521 William Street. Is there a motion to open the floor for discussion and consideration of the matter at 521 William Street?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Commissioner Paul.
Good afternoon. Property owner is Horseman Apartment of Huntington LLC, 835 Anchorage Road, Warsaw, Indiana. They've owned the property since approximately December 15th of 2016. The order of enforcement that was issued on January 14th, 2026 was issued pursuant to IC 36-7-9-5 per NA. That order of enforcement required the owners to do 3 items. I'll just read through these. They were to exterminate the cockroaches and bed bugs in and about all individual apartment units and all other areas of the premises. There were 4 parts within that number 1. First is, within 5 days of the date of this order of enforcement, a pest management professional shall be hired to perform an inspection of the entire structure. Within 5 days of January 19th, 2026, the pest management professional shall provide a detailed plan of action. The plan of action shall detail the contributing factors to the infestation and what methods will be utilized for removal. The plan shall be provided to the building commissioner immediately. C, the pest management professional shall start remedial action according to their plan within 5 days of the plan being completed, which would have been January 24th, 2026. And D, the pest management professional shall be hired to perform continued monitoring and treatment as needed. Number 2 of that order was remove any trash, debris, fire hazardous material, or a public health hazard in and about the unsafe premises. 3, continue the maintenance and upkeep of the building and premises in accordance with standards established by the city ordinance. The deadline date of all of them was January 24th. The owner failed to comply with any of those, and as a result of that, During the public hearing on February 2nd, 2026, the board fined the owner a willful failure to comply fine of $5,000 and directed me to seek extermination proposals to be opened up for bid at today's meeting. I did prepare the proposal, and during the research of that, I spoke with a couple different pest control pump companies, and as we was working through the process of how we could do this to get apples to apples quotes, it became apparent that without them having access to all of the individual units and all areas of the building, it'd be hard for them to give a good apples to apples to bid pricing. At that time, the owner wasn't working with us, so it wasn't like we had access to the building or to those individual units. So I did not finish or send that out for bid. And then I started speaking with, on February 17th, I started speaking with Wendy Smith, who's the property maintenance manager, started talking to her about the extermination. So at that time, Wendy had told me that they had hired a contractor to do the inspection and to start the remedial action. Then I just recently heard back from Wendy. That first treatment was supposed to start on March 9th. I emailed Wendy back right after that and reminded her that she needed to comply with the 3 sections of that order that was issued on January 14th, providing us with the full contract, a copy of the contract, what it was supposed to entail, when they were supposed to do it, how they were going to do it, and told her I needed that before the meeting today. I did not get a reply back from Wendy. I did not hear from her. She did not provide anything, and I was under the assumption that Wendy was going to be here today to speak to you. So, my recommendation would be for the board to require the following. Require the owner to provide the documentation that was required in that original order of enforcement on January 14th, which was those sections that I read through. Require them to do monthly continued monitoring and treatments as needed for a minimum of 1 or 2 years. Require them to maintain an on-site logbook containing SDF's data safety sheets for all chemicals used, site maps showing the location of all rodent-based bait stations, service reports signed by the property management after each visit, and then maintain a sanitation reports, where after each visit, the contractor will provide a written list of structural or sanitation flags, which would be like a unit that has a leaking pipe or excessive trash, animal feces, etc. The management owner shall enter this information in the logbook, and all flagged issues shall be corrected within 7 to 10 days of being reported by the tenant. I am scheduled to go, we had it scheduled for March 10th for me to go back and do an inspection, follow-up inspection on the other order of enforcement on the structural issues and the unsafe minimum housing issues. We did reschedule that, so it wasn't the next day after this initial treatment's done on the 9th. So it is going to be on March 10th or 11th. I'm supposed to go back in the building and do another inspection, just so you know.
Questions or discussion by board members?
Well, I make a motion to modify the order of enforcement, keeping the 3 original points in the order, but also adding the new recommendations from Commissioner Paul, with going ahead and adding the 2-year follow-up, adding the logbook and the sanitation reports, and also adding a $5,000 willful failure to comply. I think I covered all those points.
The motion, is there a second?
You would need to put a time frame on the modification, whether
For that
they would, basically it would be a time frame for when they would need to provide us with that information, show that they've been complying.
would the next meeting be too soon, or would you feel like a 30-day would be enough for that? That's more your wheelhouse.
It's my understanding that that extermination, or the pest control company, the first time they're actually going to be in the building to do.
You said on the, what was
Individual
that?
units would be the
The
9th.
9th?
So the 16th might be a little soon for them.
So a 30-day, so that would be then March, or April 6th. Is that correct? On that, April 6th? Yes. So, there. I think I'm done now.
We have a motion to modify the order of enforcement to extend the deadline to 30 days to April 6th, as well as providing the additional requirements and assessing a $5,000 fine for willful failure to comply. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Further discussion and consideration of the motion at hand. Commissioner Paul, if I understand correctly with the sanitation reports, the contractor in question here in your language would be the extermination contractor that the owner has hired to do the work, is that correct?
Correct.
And do you know from your conversations with that contractor, are they willing to provide this written list of things that they notice or flag for the owner?
When I was speaking to the pest control companies, we ran through these items, and yeah, they said that was pretty standard, and they've seen that before, so I don't think it's anything too far out of the realm of what they would typically do or have done in the past.
Okay, and then at this time too, if I understand correctly, the structure of this, this would still be that pest control contractor operating under direct contract with the owner, not with the city at this point. Is that correct?
Correct.
Further question and discussion by board members?
I have a clarification question on the on-site logbook. The third bullet point says that service reports signed by property manager after each visit. Are we requiring them or a regular scheduled interval of visit?
The pest control professional will, after this initial inspection,
Okay.
they're going to determine how many times they need to do it. That original order included cockroaches and bed bugs.
Yep. Okay, I understand
I
that.
don't know if they were fully aware about the bed bugs, and they can't really, until they've done an inspection, know exactly whether there really are bed bugs or not,
Yeah.
and the extremity of it, and how often they need to treat, because they don't do them both at the same time. Or they can, but it's going to take longer, so they might not be able to, they probably won't be able to do that entire building in one day.
Right.
For both.
I
So,
understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more of a, we'll know after they tell us when they're.
Yes,
Yep.
that plan,
Gotcha.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Further question or discussion on the motion and second for the modification of the order of enforcement?
I have a question about the fine. Is that an immediate fine, or is that? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Further discussion? Not hearing any this time, we'll call the question in favor of the motion to modify the order of enforcement as per the terms previously discussed. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries and the order of enforcement is modified. Thank you.
You.
Not aware of any miscellaneous items for the good of the order then. Move along to accounts payable. Is there a motion to authorize payment of the bills incurred by the city of Huntington?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Further discussion and consideration? We'll call the question in favor of authorization of payment. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned. Have a great week.